now I guess we got to talk about our 4DX experience for How to Train Your Dragon.
It's time for a big review of how to. Okay, Jordan, let's do that. It's really funny because Haley, she messaged me this morning because I made a video about this, and she was like, no spoilers. And so, okay, we'll do the spoiler-free version right now. Okay, you ready for the spoiler-free version, Jordan? Have you seen How to Train Your Dragon, the 3D animated movie from 2013?
Why, yes, Justin. I have
Jordan,
seen.
It's literally exactly the same movie.
We're all descendants of the finest dragon fighters from everywhere the Vikings ever traveled. These beasts are a threat to all of our lands. It's time, Hiccup.
Oh, so you're saying there's really nothing different that I need to worry about spoiling then? It follows.
There is
what you're saying is it follows all the same major beats and points that the original did, and any changes that are in there are so minor and microscopic that they really amount to nothing.
Absolutely. I mean, the only difference is that it is 30 minutes longer. And there have been scenes that have been interspersed to bloat this out to 30 minutes longer. And it feels 30 minutes longer because you're like, man, it sure feels like this movie should be over by now. Because you've seen the original.
Yeah, I was going to say
30 minutes shorter.
To justify them having made this thing. That's why those scenes exist. There's no other reason. There's no artistic reason.
There's plot details that they've added to expand the universe. Like, okay, number one, this has been made by the guy who made the original. So the guy who directed the original animated movie directed this. So any changes in this exist to expand, not change. So like there's an additional change of like now there's a reasoning for why they all live in Burke. Like they don't just organically live in Burke and the dragons attack them. They're now all dragon hunters who have come from different tribes who have now merged into a single tribe that lives in Burke with the explicit intent to hunt dragons. At least that's how it reads. Because to the movie's defense, I realized about 10 minutes into it, I didn't remember nearly as much about How to Train Your Dragon as I thought I did. Because when it was Stoic being like, and you're the tribe from this tribe, and this is what your tribe brings to the tribe, I was like, was this in the original?
See, no, I do remember, and I was like, no, this wasn't in the original. Like the stuff where it's from the original, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is a fairly here's what I'll say. If you're going into these remakes wanting it to be an accurate, and that's where I will give it praise, because it's calling itself a remake, and it is remaking it.
It is remaking. I would say it's a recreation more than it's a remake. But
it is. Well, no, I wouldn't call it a recreation. A recreation implies that there's something new to it. A remake implies that you are one-to-one remaking the original.
Okay, but it is a remake because there is new stuff in there. It's just so like, but it's borderline a recreation. It's borderline a recreation.
I would still classify this as a remake. I would. Funny enough, all those live action Disney, those I would call recreations, because there is enough different things in there that aren't just one-to-one that I would call those recreations.
Right. What I'm saying is
is a recreation. Or this is a remake.
Well, but a recreation is exactly the same, though. You're recreating it exactly the same. A remake is you're trying to interpret it in a different way. Like but to be fair,
scratch what I've said and reverse it then.
Yeah, what you're thinking is the reverse. But I would say your initial assessment is right. There's too much here that's different for it to be an exact. That's why I say it's borderline a recreation, because it's not totally a recreation. There is some line reads in there, like I saw a person say this, and I agree. When the actor who is playing Hiccup is not trying to do Jay Baruchel, when he's trying to do his own thing with this character and trying to make this character his own, like trying to make him a bit like his style of humor is a bit less in your face. It's a bit more subtle. Like my favorite line interaction in this movie is the bit where it's him and Stoic, and he's like, "And we've killed thousands of them." Like I like that's a change in the line read to be different. Like that's trying trying to be different while still trying to retain it being one-to-one. Now,
I will say, in that regard, to go back to your discussion of different line reads, I don't mind the different line reads in this movie. Quite frankly, I had fun with this movie overall.
Yeah, it's way less like.
I didn't have any major issues.
It's the least egregious version of this, I would say. But it's just because it's
my one thing is that I
doesn't justify its existence.
Oh, I mean, I'm always gonna have that opinion.
Oh, is that not what you're?
That's not what I was going to say. No, that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is I don't love the line reads that the actress who played Astrid. I didn't have an issue with the like her look. She looked fine. She looked like Astrid to me. Like she looked fine. For me,
I love
it was
the one single blonde hair that she has that just streaks down her face distractingly at all times.
For me, it was just purely I found her flat. Like I found her very. She's not, and this is gonna sound ironic, she's not animated enough, and like even the new Hiccup comes across as animated. The new Gerard Butler in the live version of Stoic comes across as animated. Like
he's bad.
Most of the characters come across as like a combination of realistic and still like you can be animated and not be animated, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. So my counter to what you're saying to that would be that when you're doing I think she's in a different movie. She's in the version of this where it's a realistic, these are human characters, and we're telling the more gritty idea of this. And the other people are in a cartoon, and that's what doesn't work for me. Like the only reason why would you make them cartoony? If you were going to make them cartoony, you have the cartoon. The only reason to bring this into live action is to make the realistic version of this, right? So, like, this movie is too cartoony at points. Like you've got Astrid trying to be semi-serious, and you've got Hiccup trying to be semi-serious, but then you've got, I wish I could remember the actor's name, but Fish Guts, the guy who knows everything about dragons, where he's comedically big, where he doesn't look like a real Viking. Like, people are like, Astrid doesn't look like a real Viking. He doesn't look like a real Viking. And then there's just certain things that, when this movie is trying to just do shit from the original movie, it doesn't work because this isn't a cartoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's moments that, like Stoic. Gerard Butler is ridiculous in this movie because they're trying to make him look as big as he does in the big thing in the original cartoon is Hiccup is supposed to be tiny and he's supposed to be smaller, but you can't convey that.
Fish Legs is played by Julian Dennison.
Yes, he's the guy from Deadpool 2.
Julian Dennison. That's the actor's name that you're looking for.
There's certain things that work in cartoons that don't work in real life. So Hiccup is tiny compared to Stoic in the animated movie because it's supposed to represent how you see your parents as bigger. But in the live action, the guy playing Hiccup is more or less the same size as Stoic. Like, they're roughly the same height. I think he's at best a head taller. So they try to lampshade that by having Stoic wear really comedically gigantic jackets to make him look bigger. But then there's moments where he takes off his jacket and he's the same size as Hiccup. So there's scenes where, like, it's the same scene from the cartoon where Stoic pats him on the back and sends him flying that looks weird and ridiculous because
they almost
it looks
needed
like a cartoon.
They almost needed to downplay the physical aspect of what makes them so different and, like, upplay in this realistic version that you're talking about. Need to upplay the Stoic has a big personality, like he has a great feel, like, you know, like
exactly. And like Gerard Butler's got some decent line reads, and there's some decent moments towards the end that were working for me. And like fundamentally, it's How to Train Your Dragon. It's I like How to Train Your Dragon. Right? This is not a bad movie. It's a there's elements that make it it's a movie that doesn't work. It doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Like, for example, well,
I mean, there's no way. The thing is that there's empirically no way to say it's a bad movie because it was a good movie when it was in 3D, and it's largely just the same movie. It is a good.
It looks bad.
The structure and bones of it are solid, and they are tried and tested and true to be solid because it was a widely successful franchise, which spring loaded multiple movies and shows. So yes, this is based on a thing which is very successful. So it was always going to be successful in that regard. The question is not whether or not the story of it is successful. The question is whether or not it translates to live action, or whether it is even necessary to translate it to live action. Are they changing the medium enough that it warrants this transformation? Right. And I don't think it does.
No, I completely agree, because there's moments where it's too cartoony, and it defies. So when a cartoon character gets thrown into the air and flips around 30 times and then lands safely, you're like, it's a cartoon. It's cartoon logic. I'm not questioning the cartoon logic. But when Astrid does it in real life, in live action, and her bones don't get smashed and she doesn't get torn apart by the G-force,
the centrifugal force,
doesn't make any. When she's defying the laws of physics, it doesn't make any sense. So her not looking like a Viking, it like the one guy, Fish Guts, or Fish whatever, he's so much worse. And there a lot of this stuff is, it's the way I know special effects look bad is when you pointed out that so much of the special effects is hidden in bad smoke effects and darkness.
Oh yeah, I mean,
scenes that were bright and colorful in the original are now super dark because you need to. Anytime they were on a boat, it looked horrible. It looked like they were on a green screen soundstage because they were.
Now that all being said, now that we've talked about the movie itself,
I had a delightful time. I have never laughed so hard watching a movie.
Because so for the audiences,
for reasons that are about to be apparent,
we watched it in it's called 4DX.
4DX,
which is basically where you're in motion seats. They have wind machines which will blow on you. When
Smell. Are theoretically supposed to get
smells
released.
are I didn't smell anything really, but
no, I did feel water. I did feel like there was a point where they were flying through mist and I could feel the mist. That was pretty sweet.
And cool. when Toothless shot his explosive fire thing, there were lights that would light up. That was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So it caught me off guard every time.
So it definitely. You know how when we went to
my favorite was when you were like, I definitely feel immersed.
It definitely enhanced the movie going experience. Whereas for example, you remember when we watched Willy Wonka and it had the two screens on the side?
Yeah,
that didn't do anything for me. But this, I'd watch something in this again. I don't know.
I would like to try it again because we're burying the lead. It is fucking aggressive.
Oh man!
I don't know how else to describe it other than I think I joked about it when I posted about it on Facebook. But if you've ever been I wonder what it would be like to watch a movie in a car crash. I felt abused by the it.
Well, that's where
legit it lurched forward and I just about went flying out of my seat. I had to grab the handles to not go flying.
And let's talk about the handles, which they have the little covering and everything. They're loose
because all the electronics are in
there. Yeah, the electronics are inside, but they're loose. And so there's times where I'm holding on for dear life, trying not to get thrown out. And also when they have these little foot stands at your feet, and you were like, I wonder why they have those. I understand why they have those. To prevent you from being
tossed out of the fucking chair.
I understand why they have them now. It makes sense to me, but it definitely when there's the scenes where the dragons are fighting and stuff, I feel like I'm immersed. I feel I'm getting all the same movements and stuff. Now that being said, some of the flying shots where it wasn't it wasn't aggressive on screen, it could have been dialed back a little.
Well, no, but it did a great job of when he's gliding and it's smooth and then when he's crashing it shakes like it would if you were crashing like that. Like it definitely the like because we also I can't speak to America because I know that the 4DX exists in America because I saw a video of someone posting about it. I don't know if D-Box is. This definitely feels like a more evolved version of the D-Box if you have D-Box.
D-Box for
more
reference is basically just the movement of the seats.
It's just the movement, and it's not integrated nearly as well. Like there's large sections of movie where you're just to be fair, the D-Box seats are quite comfortable, so I didn't really care. But there's sections where nothing's happening, and then out of nowhere your thing shakes, and you remember you're in a D-Box. This is pretty consistent.
Now, the one thing that the D-Box has that I would add to this. Especially if you're bringing kids. Like, if you're bringing kids to watch it, like, your kid would be out of that seat, man.
I'm 180 pounds ish, and I nearly got tossed. We saw as we were walking out, I saw like an 8-year-old or like a 5-year-old kid. I can't imagine them watching this because it looks like it's uniform. It's all the same level. Like, and it doesn't say that it's for adults. Like, I can't imagine being a kid. I mean, to be fair, that would be a fucking blast, but I just cannot imagine being a kid. But no, I did it like the one of the moments that like there's a moment in the movie where obviously Hiccup is putting the saddle on Toothless and he gets tossed off like he's a bronco, and it simulated the feeling of getting tossed off of a thing. Like, and this is what getting tossed off of a thing feels like. Like it. Or there's moments where like they're slamming shit on counters and the chair it just shakes and you're like, oh yeah, no, that I felt that in my core. But it was like I felt like I got beat up coming out.
Well, that's where
we all felt like we got beat up.
I came out and my stomach. I'm not usually one for motion sickness or anything, but my stomach definitely felt so.
I was surprised because I'm usually the one. I kind of started to feel a little bit. But I think it's because I had my pop and the carbonation was kind of. But I was surprised I didn't feel motion sick. D-Box made me feel motion sick. But this surprisingly didn't.
I felt like a pop can which had been shook and like it was just like.
But it's definitely. It's $26 Canadian.
It's funny that you say car crash because afterwards I felt like I had been through a wreck.
Yeah, in a car crash. That's what it feels like. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Dan or the guy friend we watched it with, was like. He was concerned he was going to get whiplash. Oh. Like it is an intense. The problem for me is it's $26, but it is something I would like to try again in another movie.
For me, it's not even it being $26 because what with the way which we usually watch movies, that price can be brought down. It's the it being an hour away that it's like that's.
I definitely would. It would be something I would. It would have to be a movie like this, where I know it would lend itself well to this. Maybe an Avengers, maybe Avengers Doomsday. I might do it, but it's a hard price. It was an expensive endeavor. It was a hard price to justify. I felt kind of bad paying for it.
Yeah.
Also, okay. Unless do you have anything else you want? I do want to make a point because I made this point on TikTok. But I want to make it again here.
Go for it. The stage is yours.
So okay, my number one thing with this is I saw one person, I saw several videos, and Haley also echoed this sentiment of Disney needs to do this. No. If you walk out of this and you're like, this is what Disney needs to do, and you cannot be complaining about those Disney's live action remakes anymore. Then I'm sorry, you can't be, because if you're gonna pay for them to do something this creatively bankrupt. You're part of the problem. And I recognize we put our money towards this. We are part of the problem as well. But as a consumer, and you're not doing this for content like we are, you're part of the problem. If you want to know why they keep churning out those Disney remakes, this is why. Because you all went... But to be fair, the other thing that irritated me this week was all the reviews that said basically like, oh, it's good, but it's just the original, as if it was a new revelation when we were saying that months ago. And it's just the original movie. Like, do you like the original movie? That's it. That's the original movie. That's it. That's all I got. So also, D-Box is worth checking out at least once in your life.
The 4DX is worth checking out. Sorry to touch on what you just said there real quick. I'm of two minds. My main mind is these live action versions shouldn't exist, period. I'm pretty well known for thinking and feeling that, so that's not that's not
hate
news.
them on a conceptual. I hate them on a. I think I saw a review that was. I hate that. It's fine that it's okay, but I hate them on a philosophical level.
Yeah, exactly. Now that being said, if they have to exist, I don't know. I kind of just like them to be like this, where they're the thing I know.
I will say there was never, but again, my opinion on this might be different if I had seen the original more recently. But there was never a moment in this where I was like, they're just doing the original lines, but badly.
There wasn't a moment.
I never had that sensation.
That's the thing that makes me go like, I think I want more of bring the original director back and have them help influence whatever this thing is going to be, because you had the original director come back. That very definitely had something to do with why the lines felt right. Because
the reverence paid to the original source
because
material.
he knew what he was doing. He worked on the original, right? So he knew how to make the lines come out in a way where it felt good. Even if it wasn't Jay Baruchel doing Hiccup, it still felt like Hiccup, right?
What I would say is I would maybe bifurcate.
So to finish my thought real quick, I find with these Disney ones, because it's a different director, it's a different cast, it's a different, like, everything in most cases, that's where it feels bastardized. It feels like you're Justin Spurr is taking a Steven Spielberg written, directed, everything thing and trying to do the same thing, and it's just never going to be that same thing.
I disagree, because I think it's trying to do the same thing while also trying to do their own thing, making neither thing work. Because a lot of these guys are trying to do their own thing. They're trying to have original ideas. They're trying to take an original stab at the story while being handcuffed to trying to just... So it makes the other one not work. You notice when they're not doing the lines right because there's the stuff that's different.
Sure.
So I think if we bifurcated and we did... Look, I hate these on concept, but if they must exist, we can have it like everyone argues as though these things should either not exist, black and white, binary. These things should either not exist or they shouldn't. I'm saying split them. So yeah, do these. Give the people what they want, where they want thing I recognize, and you do it exactly the way it was before. And then also do the thing where you do an original take on Aladdin, and it's different this time.
I mean,
don't jam in lines from the original.
That would be my ideal scenario as well, especially with Disney, because they have a whole, and this is a whole different tangent, but they have a whole book series which is based on what if we took the original thing but made it slightly different. Like they have a medium, they have a thing which already exists, which you could use as a baseline for it. So
but my concern,
so to have both, where you have the slop that the normal everyman wants, where it's just the same but live action, and then to also have the creatively different version. I agree with that sentiment. I agree with you.
But also what do you think the wrong lessons Hollywood are going to learn? This is going to make a shit ton of money, and Hollywood's going to learn the wrong lesson, and you're just going to see Beauty and the Beast, but it's exactly the same. And
it's going to be even worse with that. Hollywood is going to see this.
They always learn the wrong lesson.
They're going to learn the wrong lesson of they just want the same thing but slightly different. Okay, we'll use our new AI technology, because this will be 5-6 years from now. We'll use our new AI technology and just pump out the same crap over and over.
Yeah,
again.
I will say I am hitting a point where generative AI is starting to bother me. For me, the ones that bother me, weirdly, they off-put me in a way that make me uncomfortable. It's the one where it's the AI is like vlogging. So there's the ones where it's
the news article ones where it's like, look at this new thing. I'm just kidding. I'm not real.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch. I saw one where it's like, it's Jack and Rose vlogging from the Titanic. Yeah, one was the stormtroopers are vlogging while they're, and I'm like, oh, I hate this. It off-puts me. Yeah. Or there's the ones where it's like, it's a new thing for ChatGPT, but there's the ones where it's like, what if they did a sitcom and it's too real and it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, no,
it makes me uncomfortable.
And it's only,
I don't like this.
It's only going to get worse as time goes on. That's the thing.
Oh, for sure. But like I say, I think Well, like I said to you earlier when you were making our description for today, I was like, it should be a handshake.
Yeah.
Stop fighting it. Like work together with it instead of fighting it. And
Well,
I think it'll be less awful.
Don't let it do all the work. Is my thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. It should be you do some of the work and they do some of the work, right? But I think
I think that's it. So, unless you have anything else you want to say.
Hey there everybody, it's Endcard Justin here. Let me know down in the comments, have you seen the new How to Train Your Dragon movie? Do you think it's a creatively bankrupt exercise like we do? Or are you like, dang it Disney, just make it exactly like the original, like everyone else's? Let me know what you think down in the comments. But in the meantime, you can click the box on the left and that's going to take you to our science fiction-y bullshit episode where we had kind of an unusual guest host for the week. You can go check that out on the left. Or if you want to see a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, you click the box on the right. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We put new videos out every single day of the week. 7 videos a week, including the full podcast on Sundays. You could leave us a like if you could. That really helps the videos out. We will see you all in the next video. Have a good day, everybody.